What's up, guys? I'm RM of 263 Collective and welcome to our YouTube channel. We're doing our first vlog type video today, and in this video we're going to discuss how we bought a laser and started making money with it within 2 weeks. Now, we're not making a how-to video here. We're going to discuss why we bought a laser, why we bought the laser that we did specifically, and then how we've been able to make money within the first couple weeks of owning it. So now let's talk about why we bought a Glowforge specifically. If you've done any research into lasers, you know that Glowforge is a huge name, and that's largely because of their marketing and their pretty awesome referral program, if you ask me. I did a lot of digging, and even though I've got friends who use more powerful industrial type lasers, and you can get more powerful or bigger lasers for the same money, Glowforge is attractive mainly because of its simplicity and ease of use. I'm not the only one who uses this laser. My wife also does. I wanted her to kind of get in on the small business train, and I say this lovingly, but she is the type who is wicked smart, but also very impatient. If she can't pick up something quickly, then chances are she's not going to see it through to get to that level that she needs to. In order to do it effectively, Glowforge allowed her to do that within days. The user interface is exceedingly simple. Everything is really smoothly integrated, and all we had to do was kind of run her through that and a few basics of design in Adobe Illustrator, and she's been creating all kinds of stuff since then. Another thing that was particularly attractive about Glowforge is a massive community that they've built online. Every problem that you could possibly run into has already been encountered by someone else, and the solution is pretty much guaranteed to be in their forums as long as you're willing to take the time to look. This makes it really easy to troubleshoot and get back on track when you have problems while you're cutting. Now, despite all that good stuff, there are some downsides of Glowforge that you should take into consideration before you buy one. The big one for me is size, and I didn't think this was going to be an issue starting out. The size of the cutting area in the Glowforge is 12 by 20 inches, and that's pretty big. Like, you can get some really good stuff out of that area, but being the constant taker and perfectionist that I am, and as ambitious as I am, I immediately started wanting to do bigger stuff as soon as I did something that was the full size of the bed. So you do have the pass-through option on the Glowforge, but for proportions, for me making wood flags, items and stuff, pass-through doesn't allow me to gain the additional width that I would need to complement that length. Next is the power levels themselves. We have the Glowforge Pro, so our tube is 45 watts. If you get the basic or the plus, your tube is going to be 40 watts. I can pretty consistently cut about 1/4 inch Baltic birch ply with some occasional hang-ups. Anything that's less than that is going to go through smooth as butter though. So I consistently cut through the materials that I'm trying to cut through. So what's the problem? Well, I think that the power is a downside because it doesn't necessarily complement the depth of the laser itself. With the crumb tray in, you can cut up to 1/2 inch thick stuff. With the crumb tray out, the material thickness could be 2 inches, right? Or the material height. But I can still only cut through 1/4 of an inch. So it'd be nice, in my opinion, to be able to capitalize on the depth of the bed with a more powerful tube. One other big drawback of the Glowforge is actually one of the things that's got going strongly for it as well, and that's the way that it's cloud integrated. While it does make everything extremely smooth when it's working, if you don't have Wi-Fi, you don't have a laser. And should Glowforge ever go out of business and choose to stop supporting their products, if their website is down, if the app is down, then you can't cut and your laser is effectively useless. So for me, it hasn't been a problem. Our Wi-Fi is very reliable. I'm only about 20 feet away from the router, just through a wall here, and the laser is pretty close. I've never had a connection issue. I'm always able to run cuts quickly, but depending on your setup, that may not be the case. So it's definitely something to consider. Now let's talk about the reason that you probably clicked on this video, which is to understand how we started making money almost immediately. We went from literally never having touched a laser or done any kind of stuff like this before to making money within 2 weeks. And that's not an exaggeration. And the answer is knowing our markets, right? If you have followed the Instagram page for any amount of time, you know that I'm in the military. So what I've, of course, done is started to cater to that market. One of the first things that I started doing was plaques for military units with their logos, mottos. That's a high demand item that's very easy to fulfill. I've also recently expanded it onto making something that I'm calling flags, which are American flag or otherwise plaques that we can give to individuals. They look badass, and I'm really excited to be making them. So that's one of the ways that I immediately was able to capitalize. The other thing that I did is link up with my artist friends, and fortunately I have a lot of those. I was able to produce their art for them, and that in turn generated some pretty immediate visibility for the new page, Collective Custom Works, that I built to kind of market this business on. Now, wife, what did she do? She decided that she wanted to go more of the like home goods type route, is what she calls it. So she immediately bought some cutting boards. I started cutting coasters. I started making ornaments, things of that nature. So I guess you could call it like the more Etsy type market. She's catering to that and doing really well. A lot of the immediate or initial sales were to friends and family, but it's now starting to expand to some clients outside of that. So now that we've discussed those things, we're actually going to do something a little bit cooler and go ahead and run a cut on the laser. So the first thing we want to do is just turn this bad boy on. So when you turn your laser on, it's going to go through a process called homing and centering, where the machine basically locks in the location of the head, centers it up, and then it's going to move it back to its zero position, which is there in the back left corner. Now, once it's done with the homing and centering process, you're going to be able to go into the Glowforge app and either upload your file, or in this case, what we're just going to do is create something new. We're going to do this simple circle. I know that the board I'm going to use is going to be 5 by 7 inches, so we can up this to 4. And then we're going to put some text in here that says 263. I want to go ahead and bring that up, put it about center there, and I'm going to go over here to my settings. We're going to cut out the 263, and we're going to cut out the circle. So what we should end up with is a cut circle with the numbers 263 cut in the center. So from here, I'm just going to go ahead and grab a piece of my wood. I'm here and open up the laser. I'm going to drop this guy right in the center. Now, I usually like to tape down the pieces that I'm working on, just so that you don't get any shifting. And once your material is in the bed, close the lid. So once you close the lid, the laser is going to scan. It's going to show an image of the bed with your material in it. And this is going to allow you to go ahead and position your print on the material. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up here, scale this just a little bit bigger. And then when I have it and I'm happy with it, I'm just going to hit ready. It's going to go ahead and calculate the motion on their servers, send it back to the laser, and when I'm ready, I can hit the start button. So it says this is going to take 3 minutes and 11 seconds. Let's go ahead and run it. Now, before we start the laser, it is worth noting that I run an external exhaust fan. This is a lot quieter than the built-in fan that comes with the laser, and it also moves the air better. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn that on before I start, and then time to run. Now the laser has finished the internal cut, and it's actually moved on to cutting out the circle. Just like that, good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the fan off. We can open up our lid and see what we've got. So here we go, cut done. Now you may run into problems with your laser sometimes, like I just did. Only the thing is, it's not a laser problem, it's a you problem. The laser is going to do exactly what you tell it to. So in this case, you can see that the 6 the center fell out. Not because the laser cut it wrong, but because the laser cut it how I told it to. I did not build a bridge to hold the 6 in, so naturally it's just going to cut that out and the entire outline is going to fall out. That kind of thing is really easy to fix, and hopefully you're able to see how easy it was to just do something basic like this. If you can run the app and you have any kind of skill in Illustrator whatsoever, which even if you don't, you can pick that up on YouTube. It's what I did. You can use a Glowforge, or you can use a laser engraver, period. So I hope that this video was at least somewhat informative for you guys. If you decide that you would like to buy a Glowforge because of watching this video, our referral link for them is down below in the description. That'll save you up to $500 on your laser. So let us know what you think, if this was helpful. If it wasn't, if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and as always, you get what you earn.